So we all know that sports can be great because of the fans, because of the passion and everything that goes along with it. But this weekend we are reminded that there is a dark side to sports overall, not just in one specific sport. As we know, violence in football, world football, is something that has plagued the game for many years. But would you believe it? There was actually, if there was violence in football, which we'll touch on, but violence in a wheelchair basketball game, which was just unbelievable to see. So it was a dark weekend for sports, and just take a look at some of these examples and we'll have to discuss what the fuck is going on. First up is the wheelchair basketball game in Turkey, which had opposing fans trying to attack each other with knives, flares, everything you expect to see at a usual soccer match that everyone with the soccer hooligans took place at a wheelchair basketball game. Take a look.
Şeyler basketbol salonlarına taşınıyor. Gerçekten
So the first video was between Galatasaray and Beşiktaş, who, as you will know from footballing terms, are two rival teams. And I don't like to generalize, right? But Turkish football fans are mental. They are one of the most violent football in terms of football fans. And by the way, I understand that a lot of different football fans are violent. I come from a country that I have witnessed football fan violence with Celtic and Rangers, so I know that it's not just a unique case in Turkey, but go and look into the history of it. There is many different types of examples that you can see in there from that violence. I would not be surprised if those are football fans as well coming to a wheelchair basketball match and just using this as a way to get across their message to the opposition fans, because they're probably supporting the same basketball team as they do with the same football team. So that one was a little disturbing, as you see from some of the images, and then they decided to just trash the area they were in, because there is people there that are unable to evacuate the area as swift as someone who would be able to use both legs. It's a harsh reality that the basketball players are involved in this case, and other victims who are not able to move as freely couldn't get away from the smoke and everything else that was going on. So I felt bad for them, but it was just crazy scenes to see.
Yeah, even the commentator was coughing. A couple times through when he was talking about the game, he started coughing after all the smoke. And like even in the hallways after the game, that's where or not after the game, but after the game was postponed or stopped, whatever you want to call it, halted. There's just people running with knives and smoke grenades, and it's messed up. We have more though from a wild weekend, Francis. I think there's a Brazil rivalry that broke into a brawl.
Acompanhando, nós estamos mostrando de novo a cena desse torcedor que pode, nesse momento, estar sem vida, né? Olha quantos são. Uns 15, 20. 15, 20. Tudo foi usado, pisoteado, espancado. Outro veio, deu golpe no pescoço do cara, e só depois a polícia...
The umbrella was so unnecessary. I don't know why I keep seeing that, but like a guy brought an umbrella out there, and like first of all, it's literally a weapon that he's using it as, and the kid's unconscious.
And
like, here's the point that actually really frustrates me about that video, is like, I like the caring ref at the end, and I say that caring in quotations because he comes up to him, and he looks and he goes, this guy's not doing well. Where the fuck were you 20 minutes before that while you had 13 guys beating the hell out of a kid?
The fact is that the camera is sickening for me, because you can't actually see the person on the ground at first. You just see all these
15 people beating them.
It was like a herd of animals. That's the only way I can describe these disgraceful, disgusting, despicable human beings. That most of them aren't even looking to the person on the ground. They're looking up, like to see if they're caught, and they're just stamping their feet, not even knowing what they're doing. They're just stamping their feet, trying to do damage, but they're not even looking at the person. You despicable human being. Like, I hate to see this. Those guys, there is clear evidence of at least 10 or 11 of those guys' faces. Fucking freeze frame that and drag these imbeciles from whatever disgraceful background they come from and put them either in jail or ban them from a football stadium so that they can never, ever, ever go to a football stadium again. That's the only way to get through to thugs like that, because that will happen again. The control, like you mentioned there, I don't know what sort of security control they have in that stadium, but for some guy, I don't know what happened before it. For all we know, he could have antagonized them. For all we know, there could have been a back and forth. But there is no excuse for 15, 16, 17 guys to just be stamping on a kid's neck. with no one trying to intervene. You fucking imbeciles, man. That's so frustrating. When I posted this video yesterday, I couldn't even watch it. I was so sickened. I just wanted to get in there and just start trading some blows just to get these guys away from them. That's the only thing I was thinking about is these horrible human beings. Most of them are probably even fathers and sons themselves, just not even looking at the poor kid on the ground, not even seeing his lifeless body.
They have to be a father or a son.
Whatever they are.
Just like how basic genetics work.
Animals. That's the only way. They're like a pack of animals.
But look, I'm usually the first one to defend, in a very candid state, fans being hooligans, fans being idiots, fans being what they are, fans. There's no way to actually stop this, by the way.
No,
like you can't pretend like there's
better security measures you can take.
Better security measures. There's ways to try to prevent fans from being, as you put it, imbeciles. But guess what? The best way to stop it, stop showing it. And that makes a very hypocritical statement by me, just because we're showing it. But at the same time, the more that this gets played, the more that this circulates, the more it gives people the idea that, well, we can top that 15-person stamping by bringing a 20-person stamping to the next fight. It even went to the Kentucky Derby, which, to me, one of the stranger spectacles in this country.
They hit each other with their bow ties?
It's Sperry's and cargo and not cargo shorts. What are they called?
I don't wear shorts.
What are the cutoffs called? What are they? Come on.
Chubbies?
No, there's another word. Oh, you and Haas wear them all the time. Daisy Duke. Well, that's girls. What are the? Come on.
Jean shorts?
No, you and Haas wear chubbies.
I just said chubbies.
Oh, I misunderstood it.
What? How can you misunderstand chubbies?
I don't know. You're Scottish. Sorry, I thought you were saying chubbies.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
All right, they're attacking
I'm just
each other
adding
with
that.
chubbies. Let me see it.
I don't mean to make it fun. So you go to the Kentucky Derby video. All right, so here's what I know about the Kentucky Derby. In actuality,
It's in Kentucky.
Well, oh yeah, there's that. You suck so much. Up there with the Daytona 500, it's actually considered America's best party of the year. For those in the Midwest, they really take it seriously, and even on the coast, it's also one of the most heavily betted on events in the United States. And there's also a lot of drinking. It's also usually a lot of fancier drinking. There's the big hats. There's everyone has to, there's like a dress code to go into the Kentucky Derby, and it's a whole day event, it's a whole weekend event. And then you also get those same high-level elitist douchebags is what I'm going to call them, because that's what those 3-4 guys beating the crap out of each other at the Kentucky Derby are, is high-level elitist douchebags. And then they do that, right? While they're sitting there drinking their, whatever, $28 cocktails through little umbrellas in their drinks.
Yeah.
And they're wearing their Sperry's. And they take off their Sperry to show their perfectly tanned foot and kick it into the head of another guy.
Yeah, they're...
What do you do? What is the point of that? Like, I've seen tailgate fights before, but at least in a tailgate fight, it's like the Giants are playing the Cowboys and we don't like each other, so that's a really bad way to justify it, but it's a lot better than being like, my horse is going to outrun your horse today. No, it ain't. Fuck you in the face.
See,
the thing is with this... What's the rivalry
The thing is with this is like, all right, so what I imagine they are.
At least there's no smoke or grenades.
The frat
or
douchebags. The frat douchebags that.
By the way, I was in a fraternity, and those were the people that make fraternities look bad. Those guys.
But do you know what's funny is that, for one, like that's not been stereotyped into like typical trashy douchebag guys. Where if this was at a football game, because we've done clips on the main show, and I don't mind calling them out here, where they'll see a clip on a Turkish football game and fans chanting, and they'll be like, typical football fans, those European football fans. Do you know how many fights I've seen at American sports events where your masculinity just implodes in the most ridiculous arenas? Like a Kentucky Derby, what could you possibly have been arguing about? Hey, my bow tie is not fitted well.
It's not Kentucky State versus University of Kentucky. It's not the Kentucky Derby.
No,
I know it's
Derby. I know it's the Kentucky Derby. It's the Kentucky Derby, but only, I'm telling you right now, it's only whether we get classed into all these different stereotypes for football fans, only Americans can make something like that a dick swinging contest. That's only what Americans could do. That's what you need to understand, is that going to an event like that where it should be just a classy event. Like, watch the Grand National in the UK. I've never seen a fight of people like full suited, nice dressed attire fighting each other over that. But I guess it's because it's in Kentucky. I don't know people from Kentucky, but that does not give me a good look.
I witnessed a horse racing fight once in my life. I was in Saratoga Springs, New York, which actually is a very popular horse racing town. Also a really nice town in New York. There's also a great amphitheater there. Lots of good stuff to do. Had a couple friends that moved up there after school. But during school, we'll go up there to Saratoga. It's like the opening or second weekend of like the race season. So everyone, again, similar type of crowd. They're wearing their big hats. Frat guys are wearing chubbies and Sperry's. I wear Sperry's. I don't wear chubbies. I just don't want to be stereotyping everybody. And outside, there's this, tailgate in sorts of ways, and there's a bunch of people drinking. And one of the guys walks up to another guy and says to him, "I'll bet you $44 that this horse is going to outrun this horse," right? And the other guy looks at him and he says the exact same thing, okay? And then the next guy says, "I'll bet you I can finish my beer before that horse finishes its race." So they're watching, like there's a little TV stand, they're watching there, he's chugging his beer, and out of nowhere, swear to God, before the guy finishes his beer and before the horse finishes his race, Guy B turns, takes off his Sperry, and slaps him in the face. And that creates a huge brawl. But guess what? Security measures were in place, and both of them got kicked out. But it's one great way to use your Sperry.
And guess what?
Take off my shoe.
America.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, like, I totally stereotype those three. Possibly not fraternity guys, but again, hey, I was in one, and I watched too many of my friends become those people. So, overall, Francis.
Rough week for sports fans to, maybe we just paint all sports fans with the same brush, is that we need to act a little bit more civilized, and some of them were definitely worse than others. I can't sit here and overly criticize a 3 or 4 man brawl when we just witnessed a 14-man stampeding of one innocent individual, but we're just trying to, in a way, condemn every single act of violence that we possibly can. So hit us in the comment section below. What did you think of these atrocities? Let us know on Twitter as well, @Francis_Maxwell, @JasonRubin91, and @TYT Sports. We'll catch you again soon.